Okay, hi there, Year 11. Hope everybody's keeping well. I'm going to try a slightly different approach to today's lesson. I'm going to be right on the interactive whiteboard as I would in class, just because I think it might be slightly easier for you to follow because it's what we're used to doing. So last lesson you did the area of a circle. Now if you remember, the formula for that is A equals pi r squared. Pi times the radius squared. The radius is the distance from the centre of the circle to the circumference. So let's say if we do a quick example, I tell you that the radius of this circle is 6 centimetres. To work out the area, we would do pi times 6 squared, pi times the radius squared, and if we then pop that into the calculator, pi times 6, use your x squared button, that gives you the answer 113.0973355. If we then round that to 2 decimal places, it's going to be 113.10 centimetres squared. Centimetres squared because it's area. Note that the 9 changes, it's increased by 1 because there's a 7 that follows. So what we're going on today then is the area of semicircles and quarter circles. So you'll see a semicircle on the screen. If I mark in a radius here of 5 metres, so I've given you the radius there, the distance from the centre of the circle to the circumference. Now this is a semicircle, so obviously it's half the area of a full circle. So the formula we're going to be using is area equals pi r squared, the area for the full circle, but we now need to divide all that by 2 because we've only got half the circle. Popping in your numbers, we've got pi times 5 squared, all of that divided by 2. If you're putting that into your calculators, you might need to remember that once you put in the pi times 5 squared, press the equals button, because you then want to divide all that by 2, which gives you the answer 39.26990,817. Round into 2dp, that's going to be 39.27 metres squared. So it's actually easier than when we were finding the perimeter of a semicircle, because if you remember the perimeter of the semicircle, you then had to include into your answer the straight distance, the horizontal length in this case, across the bottom. You don't need to worry about that with area. It's the full area of a circle simply divided by 2. If we look at another example, in this example here, you can see that you've got the diameter of the circle as opposed to the radius. So you've got the diameter. Now hopefully you remember from last lesson, for the formula for the area of a circle, we cannot use diameter, we have to have the radius. So to find the radius, we need to halve the diameter or divide it by 2. So half of 12.8 is going to give you 6.4 millimetres. So the radius of this circle from the centre to the circumference only is 6.4 millimetres, and that is the measurement you need to use in your formula. So area equals pi r squared, full circle, divided by 2 because it's a semicircle. Here we go then. Pi times, remember now, 6.4 squared. Do not use the 12.8. All divided by 2. Popping it into your calculators. Pi times 6.4 squared. Again, press an equals before you divide by 2. And that should give you 64.33981755. Which is 64.34 millimetres squared to 2dp. So we've done one semicircle with a radius given in the question. This one here, semicircle with a diameter given in the question. Now moving on here, we've got a quarter circle, and I'm going to put in a radius of 7 metres. So the radius, the distance from the centre of the circle to the circumference, is 7 metres. Now it's a quarter circle, so this time the formula we're going to use, A equals pi r squared, the area of a full circle, divided by 4. It's a quarter of a circle, so a quarter of the full circle, that's why we're dividing it by 4. Slotting in the numbers then, pi times 7 squared, all divided by 4. Onto your calculators, pi times 7 squared equals, and then divide all that by 4, gives me 38.48451001, which to 2dp, 38.48 metres squared. So just to summarise today, we've looked at finding the area of semicircles. We had 2 examples of a semicircle, and you've just had 1 example of finding an area with a quarter circle. I'd now like you to have a little look at the assignment I've set. Have a practice of these questions for yourselves.